you guys. So, I don't usually talk much about recovery, but it's very dear to my heart. You know, if anybody knows anything and you've been following my channel, you will know that I'm in recovery and I will be for the rest of my life. That my husband's in recovery, my daughter's in recovery. And when I decided to get clean, I researched everything and anything and everything under the sun that you could possibly research, to find out what was right for me. One thing that I always made sure was I am proud of my recovery date. We're all proud of our recovery date. And if we screw up and we kind of fall off that horse, it's okay. But that recovery date is going to change because you made a mistake. We all make mistakes. We're human, even celebrities. And that is why you see what you see on the screen. Because if you remember a few weeks ago, I did a video on Dax Shepard and his recovery. And I was very, very proud of him for coming out and telling his truth on how everybody thought he has 16 years of recovery. That wasn't true. He doesn't have 16 years of recovery. And we will also, cover that end too, just so then that way you guys, know that I'm not just talking. But I know if it was me, as in like, if my husband was to go out and tell the world, oh, well, you have 16 years of recovery, when in fact he knew I had relapsed and told, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I would be angry because it's not true. Right. And that would be lying to yourself. That would be lying to your friends. That'd be lying to everybody. And like I said, to me, recovery, and I'm so proud of him because he is clean. But personally, I guess I'm trying to point this out because, and Kirsten Bell is his wife, right? She should not be trying to lie to the public. She should tell the truth that he basically has 8 years clean up until recently because he had another relapse. So, she should not be saying that he had 16 years because no, he did not. And I will make my point. So hold on.
Love that he's addicted to growth, and I will continue to stand by him because he's very, very worth it. To growth, and I will continue. We're going back to therapy, and I love that he place to make sure it doesn't happen again, and he's don't want to risk this family, and I did, so let's put both. He's addicted to
I went way too far, you guys.
And one of the main reasons I love him is that he's also I was faltering, and he has to take medication and tell us and say depression, sometimes it's substance abuse, and
wow.
Look, everybody's up 16.
Wow. That's
see. Hold on, guys.
Whoopsies.
Yes. And because he was sober for how many years?
16.
Wow.
No. No.
How's he doing now?
She's lying.
He is actually doing really great.
And I'm going to show you why. So let me get back to here and take this out. And go on. Okay. Got to stop that screen. Now we got to share another screen. So give me a second here. Okay. Make sure it's sharing. Okay.
maybe misled, or I don't know. Part of it's good and it's self-esteem, and another part of it's ego. That I have 16 years, I have 16 years, I have 16 years, and that is something people might aspire to have. And then through talking to a really good close friend who said, you know, if you're being honest and that what you really want to do is help people, then it would be much more helpful for you to be honest and
Tell the truth. Yeah,
tell the truth.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So it would be unfair to say this all started with my recent surgeries, which is really hard to say. But
Good job. First of all, I'm so proud of you.
thank you, buddy. So 8 years into sobriety, I had not done a single shady thing. There
Okay,
was
did you guys hear
nothing
that?
gray. I hadn't done anything gray.
He said
And
8 years into his sobriety.
my heart's a little racy. In 2012, my father was dying. He got diagnosed with cancer in August, and then he died December 31st. I was going back nonstop to do all the treatments with him and take him to chemo and handle his hospital stuff, blah, blah, blah. I also got in a motorcycle accident going to work on Parenthood. And I immediately called my sponsor and I said, I'm in a ton of pain and I got to work all day. And we have friends that have Vicodin.
Painkillers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, you can take a couple of Vicodin to get through the day of work, but you have to go
Sorry,
to the
I'm
doctor. You
smoking.
have to get a prescription. And then you have to have Kristen dole out the prescription. And I said, okay, so I did all that.
Yeah.
So I had a prescription for Vicodin that Kristen was administering. No problem yet. I then fly back to see my dad. And I don't take the prescription because Kristen's supposed to hand them out. So it's decided like I'm fine enough to just go without them. So when I
Sorry
go
about
back,
the background noise,
my
guys.
father at this point is he can't walk. He just is in this hospital room all day long. And he says that he really wants to go sit in his house and look at the lake one more time. So my beautiful friend Ken Kennedy builds a fucking handicap ramp in front of his house, and I get him in a wheelchair.
I
My
love
father's not
Dax
a small
Shepard
man at
and
this
how
point
honest
either.
he is,
Even
and
with cancer, probably
that's why it made
So I
me
get him in his
sad, and
wheelchair.
I
take
felt
him
like
to
I needed to do
Brian's
this
favorite
because it
restaurant. I
made
get
me
him a
sad
Goldberg
to hear
sundae, his favorite thing in the
Kirsten,
world.
you know, his
And he
wife
doesn't take any bites of it, and that was the point where I was
say
like,
16
okay,
years
that's
when he
probably the last
didn't. And to
stage
me,
for
that,
him.
you know, like I said, if
So
it
he
was
didn't eat any
me,
of this. I got him ribs
I would
and
be
this
so angry. I would be
Goldberg
upset
sundae.
with my
He didn't
husband.
take any bites. And then
I
took
truly
him
would
to
be.
the house.
I guess
And,
maybe I'm
they had
putting
given
more
me
into
his
it than I should.
Percocet.
I don't know.
Because he needs to take them every whatever hours.
You guys tell me
So I
in the
give him a bunch of
comments what you
Percocet,
think.
And then I go.
Maybe I'm just
I
blowing
have
it
a
out of
prescription
proportion.
for this, and I was in a motorcycle accident, and I'm going to take some too.
Yeah.
And so I took Percocet, and my dad and I sat in his living room and stared at the lake, and it was, you know, we had so little in common and so much friction, but the number one thing we had in common is we were both fucking addicts.
Yeah.
And we had never used anything together. And we sat there stoned and looked at the lake. And in that moment, I felt elation and I was just happy. And then I dropped him off at the hospital. I went back to Kenny's house and spent the night. And I started panicking a bit that I had done that. And I was wondering if that's a relapse. And oh no, 8 years is gone. And then.
Did you take more? Also, I don't have to ask questions.
No, please do. Because I think people will be wondering whatever you're wondering.
Well, since you were already taking them, did you take more than you would have been taking?
Yeah, I probably took twice of what
You were
my
prescribed.
other prescription
Got it.
was. Yeah. Let me be even more specific. Initially, I think I took exactly what my prescription was, but
Yeah.
then the second I felt them, I took a second dose of them.
Right.
So I wake up the next day and
See?
I'm
And that's
pretty
the
nervous
addiction
and I'm
within
a little
ourselves,
panicked about the whole
because
thing. And then
we always
I go to the
want,
hospital to
we're always
see him.
chasing that first
And
high, if
when
that
I was
makes
already
sense.
not crazy loving,
Though
with
some
them,
of
I had
us
so many friends
also,
in AA, which is awesome, and they would visit him all day long, and there would often be
once
like
we're
10 to 20
addicted,
people
some of
inside
us
his room, and
take what we
I wasn't
can
really
to get through the day.
alone with him as much
And
as
that's
I
it,
wanted to
just
be.
to
So
live
I pull up
life.
to the hospital,
Because once your
I'm seeing
body's
all these
addicted
people
to
walk in,
it,
and I'm just feeling a lot of
you don't
things,
want to
like
go through withdrawals.
overwhelmed by what
It's
I did,
scary.
overwhelmed. I think that my dad's dying. I don't think till much later did I realize it was stressful. I think in the moment I thought like, oh, you do this, you did it, get the handicap ramp up, did it, you know.
You were distracted by the logistics of
Still,
it.
exactly. And it was something that I could control. And so that's was my thing. So all that to say, Kristen called me and I was sitting in the parking lot in the car and she said, how are you doing? And I said, I'm not doing great. I'm really upset that all these people are visiting and I want alone time with him. And of course there's more that's going on than that. And she says, don't worry, it's okay. Look to your left. And I looked to my left and she's standing in the parking lot. She has flown on the red eye that night without telling me. And she's in the parking lot of the hospital. And then we go inside and my dad feels the baby.
Yeah.
Lincoln's like,
Here's the funny thing. I'm going to pause this real quick.
It's this really sweet day. And then on the...
I want to know in the comments, for ones that are recovering addicts, if you relapse, but you relapsed, okay, just like Dax Shepard's story, take it for example. You forgot your medication at home. You didn't take it with you because you thought you'd be okay without it. And so you go and take care of your father or your mother or whomever, and you're handing out their medication. You take whatever because it's the same medication, right? So it's no big deal. But then you end up doubling up on it. And then you tell your wife, right, or your husband or your better half that you did this. Because he does tell her, he tells Kirsten that, and he's honest with her. And she says that she doesn't see it as a relapse. What do you guys think? To me, and I hate to say it because I love her acting. She's gorgeous, but to me, I mean, am I going too far as to say that that's an enabler? Seriously, I want to know. I mean, am I wrong in that, thinking that? Okay.
On the ride from the hospital home, I start crying and I say, I relapsed. I took blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you clearly need to call someone in AA, but I would say, you're fucked up from this accident. You got high with your dad. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to redefine it. You didn't lose 8 years, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which was so comforting. And of course, just telling her was really comforting. And then I did tell a couple select people in AA, but in all honesty, a couple people that I thought would co-sign. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was 8 years ago. And over the last 8 years, I don't think there was another thing for maybe a couple years until I got hurt again. And then I've now had this experience where I did that. I felt bad, but there wasn't really any fallout from it. It was like, I felt bad. I said I felt bad. And then I did just move on and it was fine.
Yeah. And you also didn't feel like I need more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, another thing I'll add is I know really well what powerlessness and unmanageability feels like, which is when I drink.
Yeah.
If I drink on a Thursday night, there's no telling if I'll come back that night. And then you had Coke.
So again, you guys, that's all I wanted you guys to hear is that it just, I don't know, it kind of got me when I watched Kirsten, talk about her husband's sobriety and how she, quote unquote, said, he had 16 years of sobriety. Well, that's not true because even Dax himself states that he ended up relapsing 8 years in. So technically, I guess I'm technicality here. And maybe I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm making it more than it is. But as a recovering addict myself, I would be kind of irritated over if my husband or even my kids was to lie about my clean date, because I'm very proud of my clean date. My clean date is 4/28, 2014, So I'm very proud of that. I take pride in that. And so, because it took me a long time to get where I am, I fought to get here. And so I don't know. I guess I just want to know your guys' opinion. What do you guys think? It is, am I looking too far into this? Is it, I don't know. Like I said, tell me down in the comments what you guys think about this, and we'll talk about it.